Go.
Well, welcome, guys. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be a part of our Thinking Consciously, Waking Up with Webb. And for some of you that maybe mistook that title for waking up, if this is what time you wake up with a cup of coffee, well, that's good. But, you know, we're talking about conscious living, where we live at a time where thinking seems to be a chore. And I really respect the people that come on and stay on. And we've been growing this really well. We've had some incredible guests, some incredible talent. And we've got Dr. Loy Anderson with us today. And she's got a tremendous story of moving through the storm. And we were speaking just a little bit earlier, you know, so many of us seem to not want storms in our life. And I got to tell you, if you didn't have them, you'd never become the person that's inside of you, the greatness. And she's been that person that's moved through those, and she keeps moving through them. So we're here to think, we're here to listen, we're here to learn. And yes, it's an effort to be conscious, but if you don't choose to be conscious, then the environment and everything else will think for you, and you become your own victim. So guys, thank you for being here. I'm going to open up. Dr. Loy Anderson, thank you so much for being here. You've been a light in this family's life at FPC. You got a wonderful story, and I'll let you open up, tell you a little bit about yourself. You're out of Montana, and then we'll kind of dig in to where this whole started, where you chose to become a physician and where you got that training.
Wow, I'm so humbled and honored to be here, because I've seen some of your other guests and just amazing people on, and I start to think, well, what do I have to share and who am I? But I think we might get to that a little bit later. You know, my story is like a lot of providers or caregivers who go into medicine, and that's to help people. It was really, really simple in the beginning. And I chose the traditional route, which was the only route I knew about. I didn't know that there were other options. And I went down the whole traditional route, supported by the military. And so I found myself in the Air Force, which gave me the resources to be able to get my training as a physician, which is what I wanted to do. And I'm very grateful for that experience and opportunity. The Air Force taught me a lot. I learned a lot there. And we can talk a little more about how that maybe relates to being in business or just life in general. But in the Air Force and doing traditional medicine, after quite a few years, I realized I wasn't helping people get better. And I started searching for really true answers. I wasn't taught or trained how to actually do that. And I found myself completely burned out, ready to walk away totally from medicine. I mean, ready to just leave medicine. And I started searching, and you guys all know this saying, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so I found myself becoming aware of alternative medicine, so to speak, the big world out there, and finally found functional medicine and all that, and realized that there were answers. And so I started my training, but I knew I had to have a vehicle to be able to do it. I started trying to incorporate that into my traditional practice, and it doesn't work, as you all know, who've been in this community, and as the message that you share, Charlie, it doesn't work. We're not supported to help people really reclaim their health there. And I knew that even though I had the knowledge, I didn't have the tools, the vehicle. And that's when I started searching and found FPC, which became my vehicle to live this mission, which was helping people really, actually, truly reclaim their health, not just, you know, taking care of their disease. So it's been a long journey, and it was 4 years ago next month, my first trip down to Texas. I can't believe that. Wow. And I got to share just a real quick thing. When I was there for my discovery day, I thought, man, 3 years, why is the contract so long? Why do okay, good. I'll do that and I'll be done. And now I can't even imagine. I'm now, you know, getting to 4 years, the support of having a community to teach me tools and be accountable. I can't even tell you how priceless that is. And it was the best decision I ever made, to be able to then learn how to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And being on purpose. And it's interesting, you know, not a lot of times, again, we live in this society where everything has to be now. I just shared, as I was speaking to you earlier, I just shared my story. Mindy and I, my wife, just shared our story. about what we went through. And there was a tremendous amount, I didn't have FBC. I had coaches, but no one that had been in and figured out this model, this lifestyle wellness in a business model. And so we had to figure that out on our own. But, we had significant challenges for at least 2 years trying to get on our feet. And I look out to people and say, look, if you decided to become an entrepreneur, open your business, you're a physician, you want to get out of the race and you want to do exactly what Loy's talking about here. Guys, thinking that you're going to get there in 6 months, thinking you're going to get there. It's not that you can't have success. We have great success stories, but I tell people, look, if you've been doing this for a year and it's beating you up and stuff, that's okay. You got at least another year. I mean, it's so, yeah, we do ask people to commit long enough to actually, the reality of this is what it is. But like you said, you're still here. You realize you can't be an island and that you have to have people around you. And I hope and that we're always a part of that platform for you. But you will in time, even if we stay there, you will in time discover another mentor. I mean, having mentors is what I just joined another group. I've had all my life, you guys know this. I just joined another group that I'm starting next Wednesday. And I can't wait. It's a group of entrepreneurs. If you surround yourself with people that have succeeded at a level over and above what you have in all aspects of life, right? I want to be around men, and this is a men's group. I want to be around these individuals that help me. Oh, I can be a better father. Oh, I can be a better leader. And hold me accountable to that. And I can be a better entrepreneur. And you've been a part of this for a while, but you're also, as a veteran, because I've heard some stories, you've also been a leader to some of our other clients because of your experiences and the storms that you've gone through, right? I mean, and in the Air Force even, there was a mentorship there for you. It was a model that you didn't like, but you learned some principles out of there, I'm sure, that led you forward, even if they're the extreme ownership type of principles that I think people probably learn in the military.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned all the mentors, and that's one of the most important things I think I've learned from you, Charlie, is who I surround myself with is what I'm going to become. And I've become very intentional about that, whether it's, financially, business, physical, spiritual, all of those different things. And yeah, it's made a huge difference. The strengths of the military that I saw was the extreme discipline, extreme ownership, as you mentioned, the systems that are in place and the training that goes into being prepared allows the military, and this is what I saw in action, to respond to and to handle any crisis, any unexpected, and you can call them storms, you can call them whatever you want to. The training, the systems, the discipline to be prepared to handle that. And it's the same systems and training and discipline that go into being a good pilot, but that allowed the military to be really good at what it does, which is responding and handling crisis and emergency. And I have seen that similarity in business there. And this year, this past 12 months, what a perfect example, things you don't ever anticipate. And because there's systems and training and extreme ownership and discipline, you can get through it. It doesn't mean it's not going to hurt. There's been plenty of hurt, and we try to avoid suffering. I've certainly spent a lot of time in my life trying to avoid suffering. And yet when I stop trying to avoid it, when I stop trying to run away from it, it changes who I am. It's changed who I've become because I've allowed the process, and it hurts, lots of tears sometimes, but because I have the foundation, which I was taught starting in the military and carried on, through the model of FPC, that I've got the foundation to get through it. And maybe it's just blowing off all the stuff I don't need. I hope.
Well, and again, guys, you're watching Wake Up with Webb. And if you just get on, we've got Dr. Loy Anderson, and we're talking about, the grit, the storms, the principles of preparedness, of discipline, extreme ownership, and having that kind of training. You know, I was never in the military, but I believe I would have been good at it. The reason I didn't look that direction, because I'm kind of a black sheep and a radical, and I didn't know that I could take commands very well, but I believe I would have. I think I would have had tremendous respect, and I think I would have, you know, if I moved in, my intention would be moving as an officer and lead. And I think there's a part of me that did miss out on something, but that's okay. But those are things that empowered you to recognize what anyone that goes into business has to realize. You just have to know, I'm going to take on challenges that most people are not willing to do. And that's okay. Not everyone's meant to be their own owner. But you get to a point, here you are, 4 years later, you're still doing it. And if I ask you this question, would you ever take it back? Would you, if you said, now that I know it's hard, would I?
Never.
So you're
Never.
telling me, even though it's tough, you're willing to keep going through the storms?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's been many days in the last 4 years I've asked myself and thought, well, I don't know if I really want to keep going. This is just too hard. And it takes about a half a millisecond to think about what's the alternative. What is the alternative of going back into a system that's broken and dysfunctional where I can't live on purpose? I cannot. Yes, I believe we always have choice. So yes, I could, but I never will. I never will.
Yeah.
Ever.
You've learned. And same people ask me, would I ever, step out of this if I could avoid some of this? No. As one of my friends, not a snowball chance in hell. No. Why? Because of the victories, because of the greatness that comes with it, because of adding significance. Those far outweigh, as you call, the suffering, if we call it that, right? And sometimes we can look at it and say, I'm blessed to be a part of this, that I can hold this, that I've been put in a position that I'm strong enough to hold this, because it's people that go out on this journey that have that potential to empower the masses. And that's what you're doing. And you're not just empowering your practice members by who you've become and the leadership that you've taken on. And people watch you, right? Your practice members, your staff, your family, everyone's watching you. How is she reacting through the storm? Everyone else is freaking out. How is Loy handling it? And so the impact that we make is all of these people are looking for hope. They're looking for strength. And someone has to step up to be that strength and that hope, right? And so the other thing that I've recognized, I know you do, and you need to know this, you're impacting tons and tons of people. We have this mission here at Freedom Practice Coaching, change 10 million lives in 10 years. And if I really think about how many lives are changed, and I look at it and go beyond the actual practice member, their husband, their wife, their children, the people around them, you become the people. Maybe we're already there. I don't know.
Right.
But for those people, for you, if you're a doctor, entrepreneur out there, whatever it is, when you finally come to the point of realizing that all entrepreneurs go through this, even, yes, that entrepreneur that that's got 5 planes and 3 houses, and they are going through the storms, and they're also living life to its fullest. And I don't think you can separate the two. You can't separate the two. So you mentioned this last year, and of course we had this pandemic and stuff. So going through it, you get hit, but you converted to virtual. So how did that, when you approached that storm, how did it look? What was in your mind? And then what's happened? How have you changed because of that?
Wow. Yeah. Well, I think probably like a lot of people, when truly the reality of what was happening hit, there was a lot of fear and some momentary paralysis. Like, well, what do? We can't have dinner talks anymore. We can't have people meeting. kind of a little bit of panic even for a short period of time, and then coming right back to the purpose and living on purpose and saying, well, there is no other option. We have to figure out a way to be able to still do what we've been called to do here. And again, you guys were there, you pivoted, you had resources to help us learn how to do that so fast. It was mind blowing. And I had to be willing. I mean, it started up here with my mindset, again, learning new things, being willing to be uncomfortable. I think I remember this from my discovery day again, that I heard somebody say that I had to just get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, that hasn't really ended. And I'm like waiting for that to end, but I just have to keep being uncomfortable, being, willing to be uncomfortable, learning new things. And so because I had the systems in place and the support, I was able to learn, not necessarily gracefully or effectively in the beginning, but I kept going to the point that now we're able to provide people the same entire complete experience and results completely virtually. That has completely opened my mind and the possibilities to things I never considered even possible before, that I can work with people no matter where they are and no matter where I am. And it's just opened up huge doors that I would never have even explored or considered without really being forced into it and without being willing to go through the discomfort of facing again, learning how to do new things, learning how to manage. I mean, I never have loved technology, and here everything's virtual, fully dependent on technology. And I had to choose. And that's the thing. I believe it all comes down to, what do we choose? What are we choosing? Do we choose to sit there and stay in the suffering and the discomfort and the misery of whatever our situation? Or do we choose to take action, do something different?
Yeah. And you said this earlier too. You had said, do I want to keep doing this? Do I feel like quitting? And then in a nanosecond, you went, where am I going to go? And we all need to sit for a second and go, woe is me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cry for a little bit. I'm going to play a victim here for a little bit. Okay. My choice is to quit. Where am I going to go?
Right.
I don't know. Look around. Where are you going to go? And what's that going to look like when you're in it? And it's real quick that you go, unacceptable. I'll choose my own path. Thank you very much. Because all of them, no matter what path, have challenges. And I'm in a life now that I've decided, if I'm going to go through a tough life, if I'm going to go through storms, I want to be in charge, how to go through those. And I want an unlimited reward.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm my own person, and I get to direct my own life, they'll be worth it, because everyone's going to go through it. But some people have lost control because they fear having control. They want to give it to someone else, not realizing that person, do you understand that they can lose control? You're putting yourself in their hands. But here a storm happened and we don't like them. But what I just heard from you, if it wouldn't have happened, you wouldn't have been propelled to another level.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I wouldn't have chosen this path with voluntarily.
No.
And yet I'm grateful.
It looked too hard. So sometimes we're like, it's like, when your parent comes behind you and like pushes you in the pool, right? Because you're missing out all this fun with all these kids. And it's like, it's time, right? And you're in the pool, and then you're having fun and you're laughing. Your parents like, so proud of you, right? You decided to get in. So by that learning experience, you've matured. So when the next storm comes, when it comes,
right? Because it'll come.
In Montana, where you're from, there's a storm right now, and there's going to be more coming. You just said it. We haven't had a winter yet, but it's coming. Okay, so when it comes, how will you react to that? How would that be different from what you can perceive? How does that look different compared to when this last storm hit and you were like, I don't want nothing to do with this? How has that changed when the next one comes?
Oh, that's a great question. Absolutely. I'm going to look at it in a little different way. I mean, I'm still, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to the point where I'm going to look forward to discomfort, but I will definitely be able to see, even at the very beginning, what are the opportunities that are going to come out of this? What is the growth that's going to happen here? What are the doors that are going to open through this experience? And that may not be my first thought, but it'll be close. It'll be close towards the beginning because of the experiences I've had.
Yeah. What's gonna take place here if I make the right choice? If
Exactly.
I look at this as an opportunity, then the opportunities will reveal themselves.
Right.
If I look at it as a hindrance, good grief, I just built the house and the storm's going to tear it down. Well, hang on. I built it good. It's a solid house. I don't need to fear that. I don't need to be wasting. I don't have the luxury for fear. I believe my house is going to hold up, and I'm going to prepare it. I'm going to put some shutters on the windows. I'm going to get ready for it, but I've done a good job. And as we go through this, what will I experience and what will come out of my mind and my thoughts that I can't do on my own without pressure? There's something about pressure that gets us to, right? The mind sparks, and it's like the pressure of the coal and the diamond, right? That same deal. And I don't ever want tragedy in my life. I never want that.
Right.
I do want storms. I do want challenges. And I'm saying that in a manner that it's not a tragedy, it's a storm, right? In fact, in the real world, Loy, if someone told me there's no more storms, no more rain, no more lightning, no more thunder, I wouldn't want that,
Right. That
right?
sounds
There's
pretty.
something about when the storm passes, we mentioned earlier, the storm passes,
Right.
it's brighter. The
Right.
grass is greener. The ions, the smell, we're euphoric. You see the animals leaping around and stuff. What happens?
Right.
Maybe it's a pause, take time, look how beautiful life is, right? And the
Right.
storms allow us to do that, I think.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you can't experience the highs without the lows. And I think that's the other part of the storms, is going through those dark times opens it up for the lighter times. And it's true. If there was never going to be another storm, everything would just be flat. It
I
would.
know. There's no exhilaration.
Right.
Let me
Right.
ask you this. How were you supported along this road? Who are your support sources?
Someone told me yesterday in my office that we're never going to be called to go through anything alone. And I believe that absolutely. And I've been surrounded by the FPC family. I shared a little challenge at New Year's, and Luke was part of that, and just there to support me. And it was so meaningful. And every single time that I come up to a place where I don't know what's the next step, or I start to doubt myself, or feel that imposter syndrome creeping in, or have whatever weakness of the moment is cropping up, all I have to do is pick up the phone and or text or email, and your entire team is there. And the team that I've created in my practice and around me, they have come alongside me. And when I have those moments, because I'm not always the one leading the charge, when I can't, one of them will take over until I can again, because we've built a team where it's safe to do that, and it's safe to ask for help. It's not always easy, but it is safe. And so that's, I have a biological family, and I love them very much. They mean everything to me, but that's not where I've turned to for support, because they don't understand the challenges of being in this space and doing what I do. And you guys do, and the whole entire FPC community does, and my team does. And now even my practice members are the ones checking on me.
That's incredible. So they're your
Yeah,
support system.
they're part of my support
How
system.
cool is that?
It's incredible. It's
Yep.
incredible.
Well, you've made an impact on them, and we always know who the leaders are when the people that surround them want to make certain that they don't let them down,
Mm.
right? And I believe that the support system should be family too, but I'm glad that you opened up and you were willing to share that, because it's not always true. I've been blessed beyond what any man can. My wife was a support for me.
Mhm.
She was there. And I've always told people, look, the last thing you want to tell your significant other is something that will place fear in them. Don't do that.
Mm.
They're on a purpose. You're on a purpose. The last thing that anyone should do is say, are you sure you want to keep doing this? I don't think this is going in a bad place. Mindy, even though when I started all this, she didn't know how it was going to turn out. Not one moment through all of our storms, that wasn't one episode, zero, nada, did she ever bring me a face, an emotion, or any characteristic that suggested she was scared. She knew that the last thing I needed was to have that negative energy. And what a blessing. And not everyone has that, but if you are listening now and you've got your spouse, significant other, going through these challenges of trying to build an incredible life, and one also outside the business, the best thing that you can is support them with all the courage. Give them, be their courage for them. We can't do it alone. You can't be an island.
Wow, that really touches a chord, and clearly you know this, but I just have to say this, and to Mindy too. You absolutely won the jackpot to have that support, that level of
No,
um it's absolutely priceless. And if you know, whoever's watching, if you've got that too, man, treasure it, protect it, invest in it. And if you don't, because I didn't, and it is harder, but it's not impossible. You can turn to other places and
that's right.
still, you can still make it. I didn't make it alone. It just wasn't
Yeah.
with what you've got
But you
to.
had, but
You're
again,
blessed.
you knew what your purpose was. You knew greatness, and if there were some people around you that weren't going to support you, you basically said, "Okay, these people will," and I respect and appreciate your trust in us to do that, and your practice members and your team and all of that. But
Yeah.
thank God you kept moving forward, because it's tough, and I feel for people that don't get the support, because often they don't get the support from their loved ones because of fear. Their loved ones
Right.
are in a place of, I just want security.
Right.
Well, that's not anything outside of a,
Exactly.
how do I say it? Anyway, I'm not okay being average. I'm not okay with just, it's not great, but I'll sit in my lazy boy chair.
Right.
I'm not okay with that. And Mindy's not okay with that. And she's not okay with her husband, Charlie Webb, ever not slowing down, giving up on the purpose and the mission, and
Right.
serving what I'm supposed to do while I'm on this earth. So I did hit the jackpot. I did, but I did with you guys too.
Yeah.
You know, FPC has been a blessing, and to have these conversations with incredible people that have hearts like this. You know, we've been blessed to be able to find the right people. We attract the right people, but we help develop you guys, and you become just incredible diamonds and everything else. And so your message, I know it's impacting people. It will. This thing will stay on and people come. So just to wrap up, in closing, any message that you would like to give? There's people watching that are physicians. There's people watching, entrepreneurs. There's the lay person watching. Any message that you want to just give a final shout out?
Well, you know, the thing that really I think has kept me going a lot was the idea of just get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yep.
That has carried me through so many, you know, challenging times. And then surround yourself with the right people. You know, if you have the right people around you, whether it's in your team, your family, your business coaching, your mentors, all of those right people are going to carry you through, even if you have weak moments and breakdowns, even if the imposter syndrome crops up or whatever, that challenges you're going to face, if you're surrounded with the right people and you're willing to be uncomfortable, you can't fail. You can't fail. So, and we need to, the world needs us. There's so much hopelessness and hurting out there. Every single person needs to be the very best they can and living on purpose so that we can all make it through these storms together.
I couldn't say that better. That's a perfect message. Be comfortable, being uncomfortable. And that means getting rid of the ego, right? We always have to remind us, it's not about me. It's about them. If I'm uncomfortable, get over it.
Right.
It's about them. And pretty soon, being uncomfortable, it doesn't register. It doesn't register anymore. It's kind of like, well, I've got this back pain. I got this back pain. How about you focus on going to help these people? And then at the end, well, how's your back? Oh, I didn't notice it. I quit dwelling on me.
Exactly.
That's a tough thing that I make certain that I check myself in every morning, every night. So Loy, that was just an absolute and incredible conversation. And I thank you so much. You took some time out of your day to be here. I appreciate that. You know, God blessings on you, your practice, your family, you're changing lives. You're a big part of what we do. And just hugs and kisses to you. Miss you. Can't wait till we get live again.
Cannot wait, Charlie. Cannot wait. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your mission.
You got it. Appreciate you.